Today on the podcast, we are featuring the Sydney, Australian singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist Arnab Sengupta. Learn more about him and listen to his track, Face in the Crowd. Welcome to the Eat, Sleep, Breathe Music podcast, where we talk all things music. I'm your host, Jeanette Kimzel, blogger and music enthusiast. Let's get started with today's episode. Just popping in to give you a heads up, this podcast contains paid promotional content. That means we were compensated for the feature. All opinions are our own, and we only choose to represent music that we truly dig. Now on with the show. Hey everyone, welcome to the Eat, Sleep, Breathe Music podcast. I'm your host, Jeanette Kimzel. For those of you just joining us, this is the podcast where I talk about different musicians and how their music affects me. And then I play a track for you to listen to. So you can check it out and form your own opinion as well. And I'd love to know what you think of the track. If you're interested in sharing your opinions on the music, I'll have details where you can leave your comments at the end of the show. Today I'm talking about the Sydney-based singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist Arnab Sengupta. In addition to singing and songwriting, he plays the guitar, keyboard, and piano. Arnab has an extensive music background with over 30 years' experience. He is an alumni of the revered Berklee College of Music in Boston. In addition to his musical pursuits, he also works as a vocal coach and session artist. According to Sengupta, his musical journey started back in 2006, when he was about 15 years into his musical education, assimilating a plethora of styles and genres. He studied, performed, and nurtured contemporary music in various capacities. At this time, he was in his last year of what he calls his frivolous 20s and moving into the mature 30s. And a lot of various incidences and situations had compelled him to kind of look at his life much more deeply from within. So when it comes to his music, his main choice was jazz, but this mostly seemed to make a lasting impression on him, and it was kind of something that he really taken under his wing. He was basically, very taken with the beautiful chord changes, and then in about 2015 he released his first record called Refrain. He said it was a very bold album for him. It was very fresh, creative, and it was harmonically rich and lyrically deep and evocative. His lyrics were basically focusing on this inner journey of self-discovery and self-expression that he had gone through. He had recorded it online with the help of some musicians from Berklee College of Music in Boston. And then he put out a second album entitled Inadvertently in 2016. And he said the words and the music in this album had more of a jazz feel to it than Refrain. This album was also recorded with the help of musicians in New York via online exchanges. By this time, he had a steady musical direction and style within his own unique spin and kind of was able to establish his own sound. I also found a great interview on musicarnagh.com, which is musicarnagh.com, and it had some additional information on his musical background. It talked about how he said he had a love of music since childhood, and he always wanted to pursue music, but his upbringing in a middle-class Indian family, the career in music, especially Western music, was more of a pipe dream. So instead, he got a degree in engineering and worked in IT for many years. But music was always something in the back of his mind, and he hoped that he could make it a full-time career at some point in his life. And then the opportunity came in early 2016 when he decided to quit his software analyst job in Bangalore, India, and kind of decided to focus fully on music. And, at that point, he had already been putting out albums because he had the album that came out in 2015. And, it seemed like he was pretty a seasoned musician and had several decades of study and practices and, different performances under his belt, and the two releases, as I noted before. So I'll leave a link to the article in the show notes if you want to check out that interview as well. But it seems like a really kind of interesting article, and it talks about how over the last 5 years, he had made his way to Australia from India, and he set up a whole new life for himself in a new environment, and he started learning and implementing a regular practice of Vipassana meditation, and he was dedicating his musical direction to kind of learning and practicing jazz piano from his teacher in New York, Dave Frank. And it seemed like all of these experiences culminated into the music and lyrics found in the release Leap of Faith, which is his third release, and the track that I'm going to be playing is off of this as well. So this album kind of symbolized, the series of transformations that happened in his life over the last 5 years on both a physical and spiritual level. And really creativity kind of flowed for him over these, last 5 years. And it was kind of like what culminated into the release of Leap of Faith. A lot of the music, he said, was on there. This music has more versatile, and there's a certain stylistic variety which shines through the words. And they're still kind of going through this whole pursuit of the final frontier, the ultimate truth and meaning of life. He has said that that's kind of like what culminated with this album. So his musical influences run the gamut from, all different types of music. It seems like he's kind of played a lot of different types of genres over the year, but it seems like jazz is at the heart of like his music inspiration and his music that he makes. It seems like he loves to use this as a framework in his music. He also was saying he loves to improvise and make lots of twists and turns in his music that'll allow for this like, flowy and kind of just very, I guess, I would say casual music, and very like, just kind of different. He puts his, different unique spin on it. He was saying lyrically, he kind of speaks a lot of like inner realizations and journey of self-realization and self-discovery. It seems like the things that have happened to him over the past few years have kind of influenced his music. In the article interview, he was saying that some of his other influences, they run the gamut of ranging from like Billy Joel, Sting, Steely Dan, and then as well as like jazz masters and improvisers like Chick Corea, Keith Jarrett, George Benson, and Stan Getz. So basically, you can see he's got like a wide variety of influences. And in the past, he was saying that he was also enamored with progressive rock bands Genesis, Yes, Dream Theater, Porcupine Tree, and Spock's Beard. It seems like he is taking these influences and creating his own spin on the music and incorporating them into his music. He's also been kind of getting a lot of positive reviews and a lot of love from the online blogosphere, with features in outlets like Art and Culture Maven, Screen Legion, Breaking and Entering, Shaka.com, and Living Life Fearless. He also had that interview in that other website, and I will leave links to these in the show notes if you want to check them out. But, his music has been praised for like his high quality sound and talent. And, they were likening him to these sophisti pop artists like Steely Dan, Todd Rundgren, and Chicago's Aluminum Group. And then today, so the song that I'm going to be playing today is called Face in the Crowd. And this is the first track off his latest release, Leap of Faith, which is available now on various streaming platforms. And I'll play it here so you can listen to it here. On this track, Arnab was accompanied by additional musicians, including horn, brass, trumpet, and saxophone player Adria Gavrilivic, bassist Ellen Sandberg, and drummer Matthias Menarquez. It also features lead vocals and songwriting from Anshu Jha, and she does a really great job on this track. I was really, really taken with her vocals and just kind of the culmination of the horned instruments and the drums and everything together. It just kind of blends this like jazz, blues, R&B for this like soothing and soulful sound, and it opens with this nice drum intro where it's like and it's just like progressive and nice and kind of just you get a little bit of the drums, and then you get these oohs and ahs from Anshu, and she's got this very soulful and very beautiful like sound, and it's just kind of works all well together. And like when she has these high parts of like singing, the horns and the drums kind of culminate and connect so beautifully, and the lyrics also kind of have a nice tie-in. Again, it's going back to that theme of self-discovery, self-realization, kind of like the bigger picture of the song. It's called A Face in the Crowd, and it some of the lyrics I wasn't able to find the exact lyrics listed anywhere, but just kind of listening to it, it talks about kind of like, having like battles lost and won, find yourself within the scars, dreams in your eyes, stay dry, keep your feet walking, just be a face in the crowd, and then there's another part of, I think it might be the chorus, and it's like, anyway, from the dawn to another day, keep your feelings all at bay, no matter what they say. So it's kind of like really at least in my opinion, it's like kind of giving a sense of like, don't let things overwhelm you, and don't let things get to you so much. I mean, it's good to kind of like internalize things and think about things, but like you really have to like, I guess like, maybe, at least in my opinion, let things roll off your back and kind of have this like, another day will be better and things will get better, and like, kind of understanding like what the meaning of life is and what you can do to kind of just feel good about yourself. And even if you're a face in the crowd, like that's not that big of a deal, because things will be good and you can feel better about things. So I think the song has a nice message to it, and I would say it has this like soothing R&B sound, and the vocals from Anshu are very lovely, and I think it would appeal to people who were into like pop, jazz, R&B enthusiasts. But yeah, I really do like kind of the culmination of this. And if this is the first track on the album, it's a really nice way to draw in the listener and kind of keep listening to these like soulful sounds, and just kind of having this like culmination of like not maybe such a meditative state, but like this song is soothing, and it does have like this nice kind of vibe to it. I mean, some jazz can be very high pitched and fast and things that can kind of make, at least for me, I know like sometimes jazz can make my brain go a little crazy, because it's like everything is so fast and it's just like da-da. But this is a little bit, I would say, more soulful jazz, and a little bit slower, and a very like kind of like soothing sound, and just kind of like very calming. And not only the music is kind of like steady and not too like all over the place, but it also has like lyrics that are kind of like not meditative, but in a way meditative, because you're thinking about like, okay, well, this is something that I can kind of take to heart and think about as like a life lesson to some extent. But I feel like I've chatted enough. So without further ado, here is Face in the Crowd by Arnab Sengupta, featuring vocals from Anshu Jha.
find yourself back with the scars. Feelings in her eyes, images and words around them, from memories inside, somewhere near or far. And all around the faces, the left behind the traces, hidden somewhere in the stars. So you try to find yourself. Look within, don't think aloud. Stay dry, both feet in water. Just be your face in the crowd. And you just keep walking. Stopping would do no good. Keep walking anyway, anyway, anyway.
We would love to know what you think about Arnab Sengupta and his track Face in the Crowd. You can tell us in a comment on the podcast webpage. You can also leave an audio comment at the link in the episode summary. For more information on Arnab, check out his Bandcamp page, www.arnabsengupta.bandcamp.com. That is ARNABSENGUPTA.BANDCAMP.com. You can also like and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. On Facebook, he is at the handle Arnab-Sengupta-102-501-322-356616. That is ARNAB-SENGUPTA-102-501-322-356616. You can also follow him on Instagram at the handle DreamArnab. That is DREAMARNAB. If you're looking for more new music, be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you get the latest updates on our artist features. You can also find more music features on our website at www.eatsleepbreathemusic.com. That is EATSLEEPBREATHEMUSIC.com. Thanks for listening and see you in the next episode. Thanks so much for listening to the Eat, Sleep, Breathe Music podcast. To find new music and learn more about what we do, you can check out our website at www.eatsleepbreathemusic.com.